I am the one you despise. Now, for those who do not know anything about the history of this song actually was titled a different title called 31. I recorded this song shortly after my studio collapsed in late 2013 at home, and it was a very, very hard time because I was in a very bad place at the time. And I needed something that was going to have a bit of an impact and that was going to just spread a message. And that song came to be for a very obvious reason. And when I started lyricing this song in 2014, I was actually in a very toxic relationship in 2014 where my girlfriend at the time not only became a member of J Solo Project, but she was also micromanaging myself and making herself out to be the manager of J Solo Project. And she became a very, very toxic element in J Solo Project. And I'm not going to name who this person is. If you know who I'm talking about, and if you know anything about the history of J Solo Project, then you know who I'm talking about here. And for the life of me, I will never give this person any more recognition than they've already had previously, because this person was just diabolical for J Solo Project, and it was like that from the beginning. However, this person was also bringing in another person in who I had reservations on. Now, I was looking for members for J Solo Project to have as a backing band, and I didn't want to make any radical changes to J Solo Project in terms of the dynamic, in terms of the titling of the act or anything like that. I just wanted people to work with me to share that vision, to share that dynamic, and for it to be a brute force. However, my ex-girlfriend, who was manager at the time, decided to allow this young guy basically join the band, and I was very hesitant on having him involved. Because of his age, he was only 14 at the time. I basically turned around and said, look, we're not a babysitting service. We want someone who is of age, because if we play music venues, we don't want to be having underage people in there. And also his father, I said to his father, look, we're not a babysitting service here. And no one listened. I felt like I was up against the wall. So I did the lyrics for I'm the One for 31 at the time, and then just out of nowhere, this young guy, I swear to fucking God, he had the chutzpah to do this. He wanted to change the name from J Solo Project because he said it's no longer a solo project. He just wanted it to become more of a band element, and my ex-girlfriend, who was manager, agreed, and I was like, no, but J Solo Project has a foundation. We have a name for ourselves already. It's already slowly getting out there. And he was like, no, we don't care about that. We want it to be more unified. Blah 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 blah. So we took it to a vote. I was against it, and her and him were for those changes. And I felt like, since they had the majority vote, and since it was only three of us, it wasn't a fair fight. So I felt like that I I was I was outnumbered, basically. So we went for those changes, and we decided on the title of Lazardus. It was actually his choosing of that name. And when it became time to starting to mentioning it to, random people of the public, when we struck up conversations with people, it was like, oh, we're a band called Lazardus, blah 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 blah. We're releasing an album called Retaliation, and it didn't resonate with anyone. In fact, it kind of made people turn their noses up at us, and it was like, oh, you're a band, you're a cliche, you're a typical metal band. We don't care. But when we mentioned about Jay Solo Project to certain people that we're engaging with, they were like, "Oh wow, you guys are cool, man. This is a cool thing." It had a dynamic. It had something special with it, and and a lot of people didn't look down on J Solo Project because they thought it was a good idea. They thought, oh, it's not just one person in J Solo Project. It's like it could be anything it wants, and they got it. They immediately got that. But if we mentioned anything about Lazardus, people were like, "Ugh, you're a band. Okay, you're a metal band." Next, so it became that, and then it became a real fight for me because these two people who I thought that had my interests at play didn't, and and the reason why I released 31 and Fake Hero under Lazardus was to turn around and say, this is what I've done, this is what you're wanting to do, and I'm not a part of it, and I'm not wanting it to be that. I don't want to be another cliche. I don't want to be another generic band. I want it to be something special. And those two tracks signify the end of the involvement between myself and that member. Um, he fired himself about 2 days after, and then the incident happened with the gear getting stolen and the masters getting stolen. But I had the demo of the track still, and the track at this point was released. And then when it came time to starting to do J Solo Project again, it was like, okay, I need to reclaim this. This needs to be brought back to its original state. So I brought back J Solo Project again, and I retitled the song called "I'm the One You Despise," and I released the demo of it in 2015 when things were about to kick back off before the Game of Antagonism era basically was thrusted upon me. And I renamed that song because for me that title means that there are going to be people that are going to despise you for fighting for what you believe in. And that song really resonates with me because it was me basically taking J Solo Project back, basically bringing it back to basics and bringing it back to its originality and claiming that right back, giving it back that dynamic, because it's got a dynamic, it's got its dynamic, and for me, it's a powerful one, and it can have anyone involved in it. It could have one person, it can have two people, it can have 10 people, who knows, and it will always be J Solo Project. It's not going to be Lazardus. It's not going to be anything else. It's going to be J Solo Project because that's where it started and that's where it stays. So, without further ado, you're going to be listening to the 2018 re release of the song I Am the One You Despise. Thank you.